Hi, I'm Tim, welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Omega Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean 600 meter GMT. You can see and you can purchase this Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean dual time dive watch on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean 600 meter GMT. The watch on my wrist is the once unique to the GMT 43.5 millimeter case size. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference for comparison's sake, and the watch is large. Its largest dimension is not the lug-to-lug, and it's not the case diameter, it's actually the thickness. This is one tall tale of a watch. Legendary in stature, oh yeah, and it lives up to it at 17.4 millimeters from the case back sapphire to the top of the dial sapphire. The watch is broad lug-to-lug, but not overwhelming. Now, if you were to wear this watch on a strap, and strap options are plentiful for its 21 millimeter lug spacing, then it has a lug-to-lug dimension of 49.2 millimeters across the wrist. But if you do wear it on the bracelet and you count the solid end links, the horizontal extreme distance between identical points grows to a more substantial 54.4 millimeters. So 54.4 across the wrist. I would say that the lower limit for wearing this watch with security on the bracelet is probably about 15 centimeters in circumference. You can take that down to 14.5 centimeters if you do put it on a strap. Now, the watch is hefty. It's hefty because it's made of very solid and imposing parts, impressive components. The 3-link bracelet has some shades of Rolex's Oyster, but it's a little bit less square and cobby, being more rounded and a little bit softer visually. The profile distinct, the feel just as confidence-inspiring, as the links are all solid and the junction between them has extremely little play. You'll note the finish is handsome but subdued, all satin on the top with polished flanks. On the underside, you can see the channels between the individual links. There are broad gaps between the links to avoid the pinching of skin and pulling of hair, so this is an extremely comfortable bracelet, and you can see all of the daylight showing through, ready to vent the wrist on a hot day. All sizing is done by screws, and the watch has a solid milled out clasp that's physically impressive. It will not pop open. It resorts to no clamshell. It uses the more premium solution of triggers. So the trigger release system works in tandem with a snap-out dive extension. So the dive extension gives you extra length if you are going to wear it over a wetsuit or a dry suit. I also find it's great for wearing over winter coats and thick sweaters. Snaps closed, the tolerances of this bracelet remain outstanding. The watch has the Omega Seamaster Professional case we've come to know and love over decades. You can see on the flank, satin finished, on the bevels, olive high polish. You have that contrast in contour as well as metal finish, and it continues around the case as you have various elements on the bracelet end links that are satin and the knurled edges of the bezel in high polish. Now, the bezel is easy to grip, but I should emphasize it's not a true dive bezel because it's not unidirectional. If you were to line it up, for instance, with the minute hand, you could accidentally extend or shorten your dive, and a dive bezel should be unidirectional so that it can only shorten a dive by accident. I will say, however, that you can use it in conjunction with the 24-hour GMT hand to temporarily gauge a third time zone. If you have the GMT hand set to GMT, you have the local hour hand set to your local time, and you use the bezel to calculate off the GMT hand to find the GMT offset of a local airport or region to which you are flying. You can temporarily read 3 time zones. I'll also mention that as long as life and limb are not at stake and you're not using this as a true dive instrument, you can still line the pip up with the minute hand or the hour hand to time something that encompasses the entire circumference of the calibrated scale of the bezel. I find that that's still a viable alternative to a true chronograph, because most of what I time with a chronograph is of less than an hour's duration, and using this like a dive bezel to time events of an hour or less is just more intuitive than reading a subdial with a minute counter. Now, the dial is of high quality, broad arrow minutes, broad arrow hours. You can see the triangular extension of the slender second time zone hand. That second time zone hand does move in 24-hour sweeps, so once around the dial per calendar day. The watch has tri-Arabics 12, 9, and 6, as well as applied and polished indices. All of them are diamond polished and hand applied and beautifully executed. The Planet Oceans do use white gold, while lower level Seamaster professionals, such as the 300 meter, use plated appliques. Moreover, it is brightly luminescent, and stay tuned at the end of this video for a lume shot so you can see exactly what I mean. The dial base is gloss, so it does have a pronounced reflectivity to it. It has a high contrast white on black print with a few shocks of orange that are a signature of the Planet Ocean series. There's a discrete date window at 3 o'clock that is a monotone disc, so it pretty much disappears when you're not expressly looking for it. It doesn't break up the aesthetic of the dial, and it's nicely counterbalanced by the numeral 9 horizontally opposed. In terms of the watch's capability, they all derive from the Mammoth case with its screw-down crown and helium escape valve. Yes, the watch has a helium escape valve for you saturation divers. As I always say, for the rest of you, it's just a wonderful conversation piece and a luxurious extra. The watch achieves 600 meter water resistance despite a display case back. Let me see if I can get just a little bit closer here, and indeed I can. Now, the caliber 8605 features twin mainspring barrels and a 60-hour power reserve. It is a coaxial chronometer, so it is a COSC chronometer with the Daniels invented coaxial escapement. This is the latest tri-level version of it, so the George Daniels coaxial escapement with tangential contact and several different escape wheels operating in parallel stacked atop each other, or coaxial, enabling the watch to keep better short-term precision with long-term timing stability and reduced long-term maintenance requirements. You'll note that the balance is free-sprung and it's mounted on a full dual-anchored balance bridge. The two features imparting shock resistance. What you can't see is the SI14 silicone hairspring that imparts generous anti-magnetism. The watch features a smooth bidirectional winding action, so its automatic winding is largely without sound or wobble. It does feature hacking seconds or stop seconds, so you can halt the balance and synchronize to a reference time. The watch also features a time zone functionality that I will demonstrate, such that you can move the hour hand independently of the remainder of the watch. So it keeps seconds, minutes, and reference time hours even as you jump time zones. And if you note, you can drive the date forward or backwards as you cross the international date line in your travels. The coaxial chronometer caliber is very tough and also handsomely decorated. Though principally machine finished, the choice of designs was a judicious one, with unique blackened screws. Most brands use polished or heat blued. Here we see blackened screws and a spectacular arabesque Côte de Genève. Stay tuned for a quick lume shot, and check out our website where you can see this Omega Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean 600 meter coaxial chronometer GMT and make it your own. Welcome back. You're looking at the Omega Seamaster Professional Planet Ocean 600 meter GMT, and you can see that it is robustly luminescent with two different lume colors used. Now you can easily distinguish the pip on the bezel as well as the minute hand for intuitive alignment. One feature I should have mentioned during the lit portion of the review is that the bezel is ceramic, so robust. It is not a conventional anodized metal bezel. It is ceramic, effectively as scratch resistant as the sapphire crystal itself. See the watch by the light of day on our website.